Joining me now to dig into this is Elie Mystal. He's a justice correspondent for The Nation and the amazing author of the New York Times best-selling book, Allow Me to Retort. Elie, so happy to have you kicking off the show with us this morning. Immediately when I heard these revelations, I thought, I have to talk to Elie. So I want to play something and get your reaction on the other side. Take a listen to this very specific sound from Kevin McCarthy.
I know this is not fun. I know this is not great. I know this is very tough. But what I want to do, especially through here, is I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
All right, so you just heard that soundbite. Now, I'm curious from you, what impact will all of this audio from McCarthy have on the multiple cases against Donald Trump, but specifically the January 6th investigation?
Yeah, so turns out lying liars lie. And that's what McCarthy is. This is all coming out of the January 6th committee. So I have confidence that the January 6th committee is going to have a report that highlights all of the lies that people like McCarthy have been telling, because you know it's not just him. And you know that he would have continued lying if there hadn't been that audio recording. So I have a lot of confidence that the January 6th committee is on it and is doing the right thing. The problem is that the January 6th committee is not the one with law enforcement powers. That would be the Department of Justice. That would be Merrick Garland. I don't know if he's been listening to these tapes. I don't know if he's aware that there was a coup against the government and that these people are out here lying. But I'll tell you what, if Garland had done his job and deposed Kevin McCarthy, caught him in this lie, well, then we would have a perjury charge for Kevin McCarthy. But of course, Garland didn't do that job. He didn't depose McCarthy, and so now he's going to get away with this lie as a simple act of politics, as opposed to a criminal act in furtherance of a conspiracy against the government. So thanks, Merrick, for that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people have all eyes on the DOJ to see how they're going to handle this. Take another listen, because, I mean, Kevin McCarthy is coming out with mixtapes like he's DJ Khaled. So here's another soundbite from him where he is talking specifically about Trump resigning. Take a listen and we'll talk about it.
This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence pardoning, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it.
So here's my concern, Elie. Look, McCarthy has obviously gotten on the bad side of Trump, and so I wonder what this means about the future possibility of a Speaker of the House, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Your thoughts?
I mean, look, I think the gavel that McCarthy has been spending his whole life trying to claw at is just fell out of his hands. I don't think he's ever going to be Speaker of the House now. My question is more, and I have this question a lot: what do I win? Like, I would like the rest of both sides media to tell me what I win, because I knew McCarthy was lying. You knew McCarthy was lying. Most black people that I've ever seen on television know McCarthy is lying. Most hosts that would dare to have me on their show know McCarthy was lying. So for all y'all people who are surprised at the lies, what do I win? What are you going to change? What are you going to do now that you've been exposed as platforming and giving aid and comfort to an insurrectionist liar? How are you going to change your coverage so that you are now objectively pro-democracy? Are you going to change it all, or are you just going to cycle to the next one? Oh, McCarthy lied to us, but I'm sure Jim Jordan won't. Like, is that your actual answer? Are you going to do anything different? That's my question. What do I win now that we have proven once again that lying liars lie?
Right. Well, speaking of lying liars, I do want to dig into this case with against Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm really curious your thoughts on the legal perspective of this, because the legal precedent that they're referencing is based on a constitutional provision adopted after the Civil War that barred essentially members of the Confederacy from holding office. Now, Marjorie Taylor has denied that she had any involvement with the insurrection, but just take a listen to this sound from her, apparently, allegedly leaving an actual meeting on the planning of it. Take a listen.
You can't allow it to just transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president, because he did not win this election.
So that's the first lie, Ellie. Now take a listen when she's actually leaving the White House discussing it. Take a listen.
Just finished with our meetings here at the White House this afternoon. We had a great planning session for our January 6th objection. We aren't going to let this election be stolen by Joe Biden and the Democrats. President Trump won by a landslide.
I'm curious, what could her argument possibly be? She was clearly involved, and I'm just curious your thoughts on what repercussions this case might have on other pro-insurrectionists who are currently in office or currently running for office.
Well, I don't think there are going to be repercussions because she is a white Republican woman, quite frankly, right? Black people cannot get away with this. The evasiveness that we saw at her trial yesterday, at her hearing yesterday, where she all but perjured herself, versus the tape that you just played, Black people cannot get away with that. And everybody at home knows that, right? Everybody at home knows that if Rashida Tlaib, if Ilhan Omar, if Ayanna Pressley had tried what Marjorie Taylor Greene tried yesterday, they would have caught a perjury charge before they validated their parking. Now, some people are going to say, oh, how you bringing race into it? Because I'm a white man, and I don't like to think about the privilege that is cloaked and shielded my entire life. Like, I understand that there are going to be people who are that obtuse. But at the end of the day, what Marjorie Taylor Greene did was perjury. And if she was a non-white person, she would be at least investigated for that. In fact, if she was just a Democrat, she would be at least investigated for that. You know how I know that? Because I am old enough to remember when Republicans impeached Bill Clinton for less. All right, that the evasiveness that Bill Clinton did in his deposition was less than what we all saw Marjorie Taylor Greene do yesterday. Is there going to be investigation? Is there going to be impeachment charges? No, nobody actually thinks there will be, because Republicans and white people get away with this all the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking, I think you make a very clear distinction there, Ellie. It's exhausting to live through, but you definitely make very valid points there. And I do want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something else that highlights the disparities in our society, and that's the viral video of the 10-year-old, I believe he was an 8-year-old boy, who was placed in handcuffs and over allegedly stealing a bag of chips. I believe we have that video, but the little boy's father did speak out. I want you to take a listen to what the father said. There you see the boy being dragged away in handcuffs. I believe they put him in handcuffs at some point and put him in the back of the police car. This is devastating to witness. And now I want you to take a listen to what his father said after witnessing what happened to his 8-year-old child.
You can't treat him like that because a bag of chips, like he killed somebody. He's not a criminal. If you want me to pay for the bag of chips, I'll pay for that for you. Today, they treat my son like that. Tomorrow, they will treat another child like that.
I'm curious from you, Elliot, aside from being exhausted with this, you're a father yourself. I can't imagine someone watching their child be overly criminalized like that. But does the family have a case against this officer or against the police department for this kind of treatment of their child?
For excessive force, I would like to bring that. I would like to see that case being brought. But again, you're going to, at the end of the day, end up in front of a jury of the cops' peers, right? Not the kids' peers, not the parents' peers. You're going to end up in front of a jury of the cops' peers, and I don't think that you're going to convict a cop for excessive force on this video because of the people that they'll put on the jury. Look, Tiffany, as you know, I have 2 children. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and this past Easter Sunday, they were playing outside, right outside my window, right here. And I heard a cop come up, roll up the street. They have the sirens on, right? And I run to my window and I scream, be quiet, until the cop passes, right? The whole interaction lasted 5 seconds, 6 seconds, right? But like what white people don't see are all these little micro interactions where
Yeah.
for 5 seconds, I couldn't treat my kids like kids. I had to treat them like prey because
Yeah.
the predator was coming. And you never see that. You never see the toll that that takes on children, how we have to take childhood away from our own children to keep them safe. People don't see that. That
Yeah.
father is trying to tell you what it's like. And
It's very
I don't
frightening.
think that there are juries, I don't think that there are predominantly white juries that understand that well enough to convict these cops.
Yeah, despite the few that we've seen, those are often the exceptions and not the rule.